Hey warrior, welcome back. Today we're talking about something I see women struggling with all the time. Multiple income streams. And before you click away because you think this is another one of those build 7 businesses before breakfast videos, it's not. In fact, what I'm going to tell you today might surprise you because more income streams are not always the answer. And if you're a busy woman, a busy mom, a single mom, someone who's already juggling work, family, church, appointments, laundries, groceries, life, more income streams can actually make your life harder if you build them the wrong way. And I know because I've done it. I've been the woman trying to do all the things, trying to work harder, trying to stay up later, trying to fit one more thing into an already full schedule, thinking that if I just worked a little harder, everything would finally click into place. And maybe you've been there too. Maybe right now you have 17 tabs open in your brain. You have a business idea. You have an Etsy idea. You have an affiliate idea. You have a digital product idea. A YouTube idea. Maybe a Pinterest idea. A course idea. And every single one of them sounds amazing until you realize you're just one human being with 24 hours in a day and you're already exhausted. That's what I want to talk about today, because I don't want you building multiple income streams that create multiple meltdowns. I want you building multiple income streams that create peace, that create security, that create options, that create breathing room. And that's a very different thing. Now, before we dive in, if you're new here, my name is Rudy, and I help women create income, confidence, and freedom without losing themselves in the process. If that sounds like something you need, hit subscribe and let's jump in. Now, I want to tell you a little bit of a story because this lesson didn't come from a business book. It came from real life. There was a season where I was absolutely exhausted. And when I say exhausted, I don't mean I needed a nap. I mean soul tired, nervous system tired, the kind of tired where you wake up already exhausted. That kind of tired where your coffee doesn't even touch it. I was working crazy hours, trying to make ends meet, trying to hold everything together, trying to solve every problem by working harder. And for the longest time, I genuinely believed that more hours were the answer. If I needed more money, I would just work more. If I needed to catch up in life, I'd just work more. Oh, and if I felt stressed, well, I'll just work more. Oh my gosh. And then, if you feel behind, guess what? Yeah, I'll just work some more. Everything pointed back to working more. But here's what happened. I kept working harder and life didn't get any easier. It just got more tired. At one point, I was working so much that I barely had time to think. I was constantly reacting, constantly putting out fires, constantly trying to survive. And the worst part, I thought that was normal. I thought that was what responsible women did. I thought hustle was a badge of honor. Maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you've been praised your whole life for being the strong one, the capable one, the independent one. Sound familiar? The woman who always figures it out. the woman who carries everyone else's stuff, the woman who never asks for help, the woman who keeps going no matter what. On one hand, kind of sounds noble. Until you realize you're carrying so much that you're collapsing under the weight of it all. And I eventually had to face a hard truth. More hours weren't solving the problem because there is a limit to how many hours one person can work. There is a limit to how much energy one person has. And there is a limit to how much pressure one person can carry. And that's when I started looking at income differently. I stopped asking, how can I work harder? And I started asking, how can I work smarter? That question changed everything for me. Because instead of relying on one source of income and trying to squeeze more hours out of myself, I started looking at ways to create multiple streams of income. Not because I wanted to be stinking rich, and not because I wanted to build some giant empire, but just because I wanted stability. I wanted security, and I wanted options. But most importantly, I wanted breathing room. And that's where a lot of women get confused. They hear people talking about multiple income streams and immediately think, well, I need 5 businesses. No, you don't. In fact, that's usually where the trouble starts, which brings me to point number 1. Stop trying to monetize everything. This is probably the biggest mistake I see women make. They get excited. They have ideas. Lots of ideas, actually. And ideas are always wonderful. Don't think that they're not. But every idea comes with responsibilities. Every idea comes with work. And every idea comes with time. Every idea comes with maintenance. And every idea comes with mental load. And eventually, those ideas start piling up. One woman is trying to start a coaching business. Launch a course, sell on Etsy, become an influencer, write a book, start a podcast, grow YouTube, and run Pinterest. All at the same time. Warrior, no wonder you're tired. That's not a business strategy. That's a recipe for burnout. One of the most freeing things I ever learned was this. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it right now. Let me say that again. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it right now. Timing matters. Capacity matters. Season matters. Your energy matters. And of course, your family matters. Your health matters. Your peace matters. You don't need every single opportunity. You need the right opportunity. And you need enough margin in your life to actually enjoy it. So here's what I wish more women understood. Successful people are often doing fewer things than unsuccessful people. They're doing those few things consistently. Think about that for a second. The struggling woman is chasing 10 opportunities, but the successful woman is focused on maybe 2. The struggling woman is constantly starting over. The successful woman is repeating what already works. The struggling woman is adding, where the successful woman is simply a hard lesson for me. Because I love ideas. Oh, don't get me wrong, I still love ideas. If you've been around here for any length of time, you know I can brainstorm 100 ideas before breakfast. But I've learned that every good idea is not my assignment. Every opportunity is not my responsibility. Every shiny object is not my next step. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is say no. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is simplify. And if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, here's my challenge for you. Ask yourself, what is the one income stream that deserves the most of my attention right now? Not 5, not 10, just one. Master that. Strengthen that. Build that. Then add something else later. That's how sustainable businesses are built. Not through chaos, not through panic, and not through exhaustion, but through consistency. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Because once you stop trying to monetize everything, the next step is learning how to build income streams that actually work together instead of competing for your time. And trust me, that changes the game. So now that we've talked about why trying to monetize everything is a fast track to overwhelm, let's talk about what to do instead. Because I'm not against multiple income streams, not even close. In fact, I think multiple income streams can be one of the smartest things a woman can build, especially if she's a single mom. And especially if she's ever been through layoffs, or if she's experienced financial instability, or if she knows what it feels like to wonder how she's going to pay the bills this month. The problem isn't the multiple income streams. The problem is disconnected income streams. Let me explain what I mean. Most women build income streams like they're collecting random puzzle pieces. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, something over here, a little something over there. Oy. And nothing fits together. Nothing supports anything else. Everything requires its own separate effort, separate marketing, separate content, even separate audiences, separate systems. And eventually it feels like you're running 5 different completely businesses instead of one. And that's exhausting. What changed everything for me was when I stopped thinking about separate businesses and started thinking about an ecosystem. An ecosystem is different. Everything works together. Everything supports everything else. Everything serves the same audience, and everything grows from the same core message. Instead of creating more work, it creates more leverage. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say you're a woman who helps people get organized. Instead of creating 5 random businesses, you could create one ecosystem. You might offer a simple organizing service. But then you could also recommend products you already use through affiliate links. And then you could create a printable planner to help them organize themselves. Or you could host a workshop and charge people to come to it. You could create content around organization. See how all those things connect? It's the same audience, the same message, the same problem, and the same solution. But there's different pockets of ways for people to get help from you. That's very different from trying to run an organizing business, a candle business, a dog grooming business, and a completely unrelated Etsy shop all at the same time. One creates momentum, the other just creates confusion and exhaustion. And I think this is especially important for women because so many of us have been conditioned to believe that more effort equals results, but leverage creates results too. Actually, leverage often creates better results because leverage allows one action to make multiple outcomes. So let's talk about one of my favorite examples, content. Years ago, I thought content creation meant constantly creating something new. A new Facebook post, a new blog, a whole brand new video, a new email, new Pinterest content, because I'm a huge Pinterest fan. Every platform needed its own thing. No wonder I was tired. No wonder so many women are overwhelmed by content. They're recreating the wheel every day. Now I approach it differently. Now I start with one idea, just one topic. Then we take that topic and make one message. And then I let that message work harder for me. For example, let's take today's topic, multiple income streams without multiple meltdowns. That's one topic. And it's one message. But look what can come from it. Let's start off with this YouTube video. And then you can take the transcript from the video and make a full blog post. Then you could take the blog post and break it into several Pinterest pins. Make an email newsletter about the blog or the video. Make a few Facebook posts around this one topic. Some Instagram stories. Maybe some community discussion posts around this one topic. Some short form videos. And suddenly this one idea becomes a whole week's worth of content. And not because I worked any harder, but because I'm working smarter. And this is where so many women miss the opportunity. They're sitting on gold and they don't even realize it. They're creating a piece of content and using it only once. And then they're just moving on. Imagine baking a giant lasagna and taking one bite and throwing the rest away. Sounds absolutely ridiculous, right? But that's exactly what people do with content. They create something valuable, they use it once, and then start over from scratch. Friend, stop doing that. You deserve easier. You deserve smarter. You deserve systems that support your life. Now let's talk about another thing women often get wrong. They think every income stream should require equal attention, and it shouldn't. Some streams are meant to be active, and some are meant to just kind of be supportive on the side, and some are meant to grow slowly in the background. Let's think of it like a garden. Not every plant grows at the same rate. Not every plant needs the same amount of water. Not every plant produces fruit at the same time. Income streams work the same way. Your primary stream might be your service business, and that will get the most of your attention. Your affiliate income might grow quietly in the background over there. And then your digital products might sell occasionally. And your workshop might happen 2 or 3 times a year. And your community grows steadily over time. See, they're different streams that have different roles, but they also have different responsibilities. And it's all okay. Everything doesn't need to produce the same results immediately. One of the biggest mistakes I made early on was expecting every idea to become profitable instantly. If it didn't work right away, I assumed it wasn't working. But some things take more time. Just like relationships take time. Trusts takes time. Communities take time to build. Content takes time. And momentum to really get it rolling takes time. And that's hard when the bills are due now. Trust me, I get it. I feel you. I've been there. But one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is patience. Not passive waiting, intentional patience. The kind that keeps showing up. I know, easier said than done sometimes. The kind that keeps planting those seeds for your garden. the kind that trusts that consistent action eventually creates results. Now, here's another lesson I wish someone had taught me earlier. You don't need more opportunities. You need more follow through. Oh, ouch, I know. That one can sting because new opportunities are so exciting. Following through isn't always that exciting, but following through is where the results live. The internet is full of women chasing new ideas every week. Very few are consistently building the same thing month after month, year after year. And consistency is often the difference. It's not that successful people know secrets. It's that they stay in the game longer. They don't quit every time something gets hard. They don't pivot every time they get bored. They don't abandon every project before it has a chance to work. They stay. They learn. They improve. And most importantly, they keep going. Because that's where breakthroughs happen. It's not in the excitement part of starting. It's in the discipline of continuing. And warrior, if you're watching this and thinking, okay, Rudy, I hear you, but I still feel overwhelmed, I want you to take a deep breath. Because you're not behind and you don't need to catch up. You don't need to build everything this month. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the next step. One step. That's it. One decision. One action. One improvement. One system. One stream. One piece of content. One conversation. One day at a time. And when you start approaching business that way, something amazing happens. You stop feeling frantic. You stop feeling scattered. And you stop feeling like you're constantly failing. And you start building something sustainable. Something that can actually support your life. Something that doesn't require panic energy to maintain. And that's exactly where I want to take you in the next section. Because now we're going to talk about the thing that changed everything for me. Building a business around my life instead of forcing my life to revolve around my business. So let's talk about the lesson that probably took me the longest to learn. And honestly, it's the one I still have to remind myself of sometimes. Building your business around your life, not your life around your business. I know that sounds simple, but look around. How many women are doing the exact opposite? They're sacrificing sleep, sacrificing family time, sacrificing health, sacrificing peace, sacrificing relationships, sacrificing rest, all in the name of building a business. And here's the hard truth. If the business you're building destroys the life you're trying to create, what's the point? Seriously, what's the point? Because most women don't start businesses because they want more stress. They don't start businesses because they want more pressure. And they definitely don't start businesses because they want less freedom. They start because they want more options, more flexibility, more income, more peace, more control over their future. Yet somehow we end up recreating the same exhausting patterns we were trying to escape. I know, I did it. There was a season where I thought every spare minute needed to be productive. If I had 20 minutes, I should be working on something. If I had an hour, I should be working on something. If I had a day off, we better fill it with things I should be working on. There was always more to do. Always another project, always another opportunity, always another task. And because there was always more to do, I never felt finished. Maybe you know that feeling. You sit down to rest, but your brain is still running. You try to watch a movie, but you're thinking about your to-do list. You try to relax, but you're mentally planning your next week. You feel guilty for stopping, guilty for sitting down for a minute and resting, guilty for not doing more. And that's a dangerous place to live, because eventually you stop seeing yourself as a human being and start seeing yourself as a productivity machine. Warrior, you were not created to function like a machine. You need rest. You need margin. You need joy in your life. You need laughter. And you need people. You need hobbies. You need moments that don't produce income. One of the biggest breakthroughs I've had over the years is realizing that rest isn't a reward. Rest is a requirement. You don't earn rest. You need rest. And the healthier your nervous system becomes, the better decisions you make. The more creative you become. The more focused you become. The more patient you become. The more resilient you become. Burnout doesn't make you successful. It just makes you exhausted. And exhausted people make desperate decisions. Let's talk about what building your life around your business actually looks like. It starts with honesty, not fantasy, honesty. How much time do you really have? Not ideal world time, real world time. How much energy do you really have? What season are you actually in? Because a single mom with young children is in a completely different season than an empty nester. A woman caring for aging parents is in a different season than a newly retired woman. A woman working full-time has different capacity than someone who's just building full-time. Your business needs to fit your season, not someone else's. One of the reasons women get discouraged is because they're comparing their chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. They're comparing their beginning to someone else's middle. They're comparing their reality to someone else's highlight reel. Stop doing that. Comparison will steal your peace faster than almost anything else. Your journey is yours. Your timeline is yours. Your calling is yours. And your business should reflect that. Now, let's talk about security. Because when most women hear the words multiple income streams, what they really want is security. They want to know they'll be okay. They want options. They want stability. They want to stop feeling like one emergency could wipe everything out. And honestly, that's a valid desire. I've lived through seasons where money was tight. I've lived through seasons where uncertainty was high. And I've lived through seasons where I felt like I was constantly trying to stay ahead of the next problem. That's why I love the idea of multiple income streams. Not because it's trendy, but because it's practical. When one stream slows down and maybe isn't doing as well, another one may be getting better. When one opportunity changes, another one remains. And when life throws a curveball, you have options, But here's the key. Security comes from healthy streams, not just endless streams. I want to say that one more time for you, so listen really closely. Security comes from healthy streams, not endless streams. You don't need 10 streams of income. You just need a few strong ones. Think about a chair. Let's go with the chair. A chair doesn't need 20 legs. It just needs 4 strong ones. Your business is the same. Strong foundations beat endless expansion every single time. And that leads me to one of my favorite phrases. Consistency beats intensity. Consistency beats intensity. Consistency beats intensity. The woman who works steadily for 2 years often outperforms the woman who burns herself out in 6 months. The woman who keeps showing up wins. The woman who keeps learning wins. The woman who keeps improving wins. Not because she's the smartest, not because she's the most talented, but because she stayed. She kept going. And if you've been feeling discouraged lately, I want you to hear this. You are probably closer than you think. Most people quit too soon. Most people stop right before the actual momentum kicks in. Most people underestimate what can happen in a year. A year of consistency, a year of learning, a year of growth, a year of showing up. You don't need overnight success. You need sustainable success. That's the kind that actually lasts. The kind that supports your family. The kind that supports your health. The kind that supports your future. The kind that lets you finally breathe. And honestly, that's what I want for every woman who follows me. Not hustle, not exhaustion, not performative busyness. Purpose, progress, freedom. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. God never asks us to carry everything. Some of you are trying to carry your family, your finances, your future, your fears, your business, your responsibilities, your dreams, all by yourself. And you're exhausted. Of course you are. That's a heavy load. But one of the most beautiful lessons I've learned is that obedience is lighter than striving. Obedience is lighter than striving. When you're walking in alignment, things still require work, but they don't require panic. They don't require desperation, and they don't require you to run yourself into the ground. The world seems to celebrate hustle, but God often works through faithfulness, through consistency, through stewardship, through trust, through healthy rhythms, and through daily obedience. And if you're in a season where you're building multiple income streams, I want to encourage you. Build slowly. Build intentionally. Build something that supports your life, not something that steals it. Now I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a comment below and tell me what's one income stream you're currently focused on, or what's one thing you're letting go of so life feels a little less overwhelming. I read the comments and I genuinely love hearing your stories. And if today's video encouraged you, helped you, or made you feel a little less alone, make sure to subscribe because we got new stuff every week. And if you'd like more support, come and join us inside the Empower Collective. It's my free school community where women are learning how to build income, confidence, and freedom without losing themselves in the process. When you join this month, you'll also get access to my free Warriors weekly reset. It's a simple tool that will help you create calmer, intentional weeks. And I'd love to invite you to my free Warrior Mom Workflow Workshop happening this Wednesday night. We're going to talk about creating workflows, rhythms, and systems that help you build income without feeling overwhelmed. Because, Warrior, you don't need to hustle harder. You need better systems. You need more clarity. You need healthier rhythms. And you need a plan that lets you breathe. All the details are below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember, more income streams should create more security, not more stress, more peace, not more panic, and more freedom, not another full-time job. Until next time, warrior, reemerge and rise because warriors do it better. Bye for now.